This podcast is brought to you by our friends at Anchor by Spotify. And if you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. No specialty training or equipment needed. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast worldwide on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, like I've been saying, Anchor is totally free. It's free. Download the Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started and make your podcast dreams a reality. That's anchor.fm. What are you waiting for? Download the app.
Well, it's a big show.
Welcome to the Fade Route
It's a big bad show tonight.
with DNZ.
Yeah, it's a big show.
Here are your hosts,
Cracking up, telling them lies.
DNZ. Welcome everybody to this week's episode of the Fade Route with DNZ. I am ZN. We got a great show planned for you. We are talking about James Harden and whether he can revert back to form now that he's gotten paid again. We're talking about the fallout of the All-Star break in Major League Baseball and where we go from here. And we are ordering up the AFC West. But we're going to start with the weather. Okay, the weather. It is hot here in the Northeast. And what better way to spend a hot day than with some soccer training? I had the amazing opportunity today to go to the NYCFC soccer training in Orangeburg on behalf of the Ossining AYSO partnership. Thank you so much, guys, for having me. It was a blast. I got to watch how the boys train. I got to see how Coach Cushing is running the ship. And I got to meet Maxi Morales, Tati Castellanos, Malte Amundsen, Eber, Talis Mag, a wide range of the lads. And they could not have been more gracious. It could not have been a better time. And speaking of a better time, clearly it is not a better time than now for the San Francisco 49ers because they have granted Jimmy Garoppolo and his agents the permission to seek a trade. So this must mean that they saw enough in Trey Lance that they are more than willing to move on from the oft-injured yet consistently winning quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. And it makes you wonder, right? Now that mini camps are going to, now the training camps are going to be opening, who is going to this trade and what does this trade look like? I mean, you had the Russell Wilson trade with Denver. It brought back Drew Lock. No offense. More players, picks. The Baker Mayfield trade was for a bag of bones and maybe some barbecue sauce. You figure that a Jimmy Garoppolo trade is going to fetch somewhere in between, considering the fact that he has been to a Super Bowl. When he plays, his team wins, and he puts up numbers. Like, would Jimmy be willing at this point in his career to just say, hey, let me go back up Tom Brady in Tampa Bay again, because Brady may retire and I might finally get the keys to the kingdom after Tom calls it a career? Am I more inclined to go compete for a starting job with a team like, say, the Giants? Maybe the Chicago Bears call. Maybe they want somebody to push Justin Fields a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, the Atlanta Falcons aren't happy that they only have Marcus Mariota. Maybe they give the Niners a call about Jimmy G. I don't know. It remains to be seen. But this adds another layer to an already interesting training camp. We're going to see a lot of position battles. We're going to see a lot of quarterback controversy, and this just adds to it. And here he is. I've known this guy since our days on Carousel Shoes, flight crew through and through, the last QB in St. John's history. What's up, D? How's it going, man?
Yeah, what an interesting development there. I mean, they're the 49ers have seen enough, and they believe in the guy they drafted. He's showing that he can be the leader, and they're like, yo, Jimmy, you go for it, man. You go get it, because we're done trying. And like you said, it's probably going to become a bag of bones. I mean, I thought it'd be like a third-round pick or, a fifth. But no, it might be as low as a 6 or a 7, because they're probably going to have to cut him unless someone gets hurt. And if I'm Jimmy, the first place I'm calling is Atlanta. Like, that's where you got to get on the phone and say, hey, man, I'm going to come in and I'll compete with Marcus Mariota. They're loaded offensively, right? I mean, they don't have a running back, but Kyle Pitts is probably a top 5 tight end. They just drafted the kid London from USC to be their wide receiver. So they've got talent, and they're in a division that's up for grabs, right? There's no 100% the Bucs are going to take that.
No.
The Saints have Jameis Winston coming back. Carolina's got 2 quarterbacks from 3 years ago. So, and then the other phone call I make is to Seattle, right? That's the other phone call. Because to me, the other places are all set. Jimmy's a Chicago guy, so I don't know if going to Chicago benefits anybody, because it sucks there. If you're a quarterback, who wants to throw the ball in the winter in Chicago, right?
To those receivers,
right? So, maybe the Colts, I think, are good. We're still waiting for what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson, to find out but they seem content with going with Jacoby Brissett. I don't know if they're going to pay it, and Jimmy's a 1-year deal. So, and I disagree with you. I don't think Tom wants Jimmy G anywhere near him, because he got him out of Foxborough. He doesn't want Jimmy G behind him. He likes being the biggest dog in the doghouse. So it remains to be seen.
No, definitely. And this is going to be a very intriguing, and because you never know about injuries as well, right? Dak Prescott could blow out his Achilles tomorrow,
Sure.
Carson Wentz can go out on a back injury again, and all of a sudden Jimmy G's value goes through the roof.
And it's going to happen, right? We know it.
We've
been around this sport long enough to know that 5 teams are going to lose their starting quarterback to an injury. Maybe not a serious injury, but to an injury where they're going to need a solid backup to play behind it. What about Philly? Philly's a good spot. Jalen is, you want to go somewhere where he's going to push somebody. Like you said, Jimmy G wins wherever he goes. He wins. He's a winner.
I got one for you. How about Tennessee?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm jumping up at that one. They don't got really anybody to throw the ball to there. They've pretty much come out with the moves they made in the offseason. Everything points to them running the ball. But yeah, he's recovering from a shoulder injury. And, I don't even think that's what really hurt him in this. I just don't think there's a market. There's just no market for Jimmy G. There's no market for his skill set. There's no market for what he brings to the table.
Well, there is certainly a market for this gentleman, Juan Soto of the Washington Nationals. Your reigning, defending 2022 Home Run Derby champion, eclipsed the All-Star game, having recently rejected the Nationals' 15-year. I'm just going to say this again for emphasis. 15-year, $40 million offer. He politely declined. Like, no.
Change.
You know.
Change.
Excuse me, you can find that in your couch, sir. The Nats are now willing to listen on their all-star outfielder, World Series champion, and home run derby champ. What will it take to get this deal done, and what team makes it happen, D?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the first team that came to my mind is the New York Yankees. And he's the guy that you spend the big money on. It's not Aaron Judge. I mean, did you see the size of Soto? He's huge. And he's got range. He can play center field. He can hit. He's ready. Won a World Series on a team that lost their best player, right? I mean, Harper left and they won. And you're going to have you're going to probably have the best center fielder, or top 5 or top 3 center fielder in the league. I think they come in heavy with a 10-year, $500 million contract with an opt-out after 7 years. I think that's what they're going with. I think that's what he's getting.
In terms of prospects, though, who are you trading? Like, I mean, you have Volpe, you have Dominguez, you have Peraza. Like, what are your... If you are Mike Rizzo, you are calling Brian Cashman and saying what?
Yeah, so... I think the phone call has to go the other way around. I think the Nationals are fielding calls. I don't think they're going to be making calls. And they know the teams they want to deal with. I want to talk to San Francisco. I want to talk to the Yankees, and I want to talk to the Cubs. Those are the teams I want to talk to, because those are the teams that are going to, make a splash, because they got to make a splash. They're in big markets. Like, you're not listening to calls from the Rockies. You're also probably listening to the Dodgers, right? Even though I think the Dodgers farm system is pretty much depleted. But, I think if you're Cashman, you don't know what prospects are going to be. Look at Kalinick and look at the struggles that he's having, right? You don't know how Dominguez is going to turn out. You don't know how Volpe is going to turn out. You know how any of these guys are going to turn out. You know what Soto is at 24 years old. We know what he is. He's a star. He's a stud. I think he hit like 81 home runs yesterday. Yeah. So
just yesterday.
So, and he's Dominican. He's of Dominican descent. He's gonna relate a lot to the people in the Bronx. And I can't remember the last time the Yankees had a star center fielder. Yes, Aaron Judge plays center field, but he's not a center fielder. So, yeah, that's who my money's on.
I agree.
And then Judge goes to San Francisco.
I agree with you in that regard. Aaron Judge is a right fielder or a left fielder playing center field. They need somebody. I mean, Judge has done an admirable job, but Juan Soto definitely provides more range. It also allows you to get Giancarlo Stanton into either left field or your everyday DH. Now, in terms of prospects, if you were looking for solely a prospect deal, you got to you have to at least kick the tires on a trade with the Mets. Because I understand that he's in division, and that's not something that teams are wanting to do. As a Met fan, I don't want to do it. Because you have always that lingering kind of doubt, Like, it's going to take Alvarez, Beatty, Allen, Mauricio, Vientos, and probably Jeff McNeil. That, for one player, yes, 15 years of a great player, and Juan Soto is a great player. Like, I'm not going to dispute that Juan Soto is a great player. A career 293 hitter, 118 home runs, and he's not even 25 yet. Elite level defender. That just seems a little too rich for my blood. But, and there's also no guarantee that you're going to sign him. Like, you may give up the farm, and then he gets swooped up by the Angels, or he gets swooped up by the Dodgers, or the Astros, or the Cubs, because he's a free agent. He can go, he can walk. Like, he can walk. That's dangerous.
You can't play the Lindor game with him. If you trade, you got to get that extension. So you got to get that contract signed.
Right. That ink needs to be dry. No bullshit about that. You're going into the offseason, you're going to test the market. if you're going to test the market, I'm not giving up 6 players for you. Like, I'm not doing that. So the Mets make the most sense from a prospect standpoint. From an intrigue standpoint, I got to say, I think the Astros could possibly pull off a trade of this magnitude. You know, they definitely can deal from the minor league system. They can deal from their major league roster, and they can get a player of Juan Soto's caliber. Because then you're looking at teams like the Mariners, you're looking at teams like the Orioles. Like, they're realizing their potential now, but they're not good enough to subtract 5 and add 1 as good as Juan Soto is.
But I just don't even know if he'd go there. Like, he would just not play. He would just not report. Like, I don't know if he would even go there, you know.
I don't know. It's definitely, I mean, it would be very interesting to see, because that's another thing though, the DMV rivalry between the Orioles and the Nationals, while it has cooled off because of the TV network getting taken care of, you never want to deal. It's like the Yankees and the Mets making a trade. Like, it doesn't really happen because the other team doesn't want to get fleeced. And next thing you know, you're on the back page, you know, with your nose being rubbed in, getting fleeced. Would the Braves be willing to do that? You'd have to give up a guy like Strider. You'd have to give up, you'd probably have to give up quality players to pull the trigger on that. I don't know what the Dodgers farm system is anymore, especially after the Turner-Scherzer deal. Yes, you got Scherzer. Yes, you got Turner, but you gave up Ruiz. You gave up Gray. I mean, that's a lot of prospects, and I don't see anybody on the major league roster that they'd be willing to deal back to the Nationals. Like, would they be willing to trade Trey Turner back? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So, there's a lot of speculation. And then, as always, the Padres, you can never discount them, especially if they decide to finally deal off a guy like Mackenzie Gore. So we will definitely see where that goes.
Avoid messy accidents. Get better stopping power with your brake pads. Callahan brake pads. You never know when you'll be driving in the road and there will be a truck tire that you need to avoid and save your family. Callahan Auto. We really care about what's under your hood.
But the All-Star game is behind us. The American League won their 9th straight, 3-2 over the Nats after back-to-back home runs off of Tony Gonsolin. Giancarlo Stanton of the Yankees and the MVP of the All-Star game, and Byron Buxton went back-to-back. But that game's behind us. The second half officially starts tomorrow. What storylines are you following going forward, D?
Yeah, just quickly on the All-Star game, though, I enjoyed the uniforms. I like the uniforms a lot.
I like the American League more. I gotta say, I like the American League more.
Yeah, I like the uniforms. I thought it was cool Giancarlo Stanton hitting a home run after talking about, like, that's where he used to sit in the left field bleachers when he would go to Dodger games. So for it to come full circle for him to get to the All-Star game in LA, hit a home run where he used to sit, and then win the MVP award, I thought that was pretty cool. Even though I think Buxton should have got it because he hit the go-ahead home run, the one that won, kind of decided who won the game. But that's fine. We talked about it during the week. I was pretty pissed off that Gonsolin gave up his starting spot to Kershaw. I thought that was bullshit, but everyone seemed all nostalgic and seemed to say that it was like the right thing to do. I wanted to see what exactly happened to Gonsolin. He was exploited and he got crushed by, major league hitters that were waiting for him. But after talking about that, I'm following a lot of things through the second half of the season. The first thing I want to see is if 3 teams in the AL East make the playoffs. Right now, all 5 teams are over 500, which is incredible, right? If you think about how far the O's have come. Toronto fired their manager, and they're in second place. Manoah looked like lights out in the All-Star game, so I'm interested to see that. The next thing I want to see is I want to see who comes out of the Central. The Twins, the Guardians, the White Sox, they're all within a couple of games of each other. I really think it's going to come down to the last week of the season. And listen, if a team like the Twins wins that division after they traded away everybody, good for them. I actually want to see them win it. The third thing I'm following is Tatis Jr. is coming back. I want to see if he's able to help the Padres, chip against that 10-game lead the Dodgers have. And then the last thing I'm looking at is, despite a 14-game win streak, the Mariners are still 9 games behind the Astros. So I want to see if the All-Star game trips up the Mariners, and I want to see how much they can close that gap.
What I'm looking for the Mariners as well, because they were equatorially hot, right? The 14-game winning streak.
Yeah,
it announces their presence with authority. Julio Rodriguez showed up on a national stage and announced his presence with authority. It makes you wonder what they're going to be moving forward, because who is their GM?
Dipoto.
Jerry Dipoto, Trader Jerry. How is Trader Jerry going to fuck this up? That's how I want that. That's what I want to know, because Jerry Dipoto has the innate ability to take something good and ruin it by tweaking it.
Well, they've been competing though. We trashed the moves he's made, but listen, they're competing, and this is the second year in a row that they're in it, and their pitching has come around a lot quicker than anybody thought it would, and they're getting a lot of help from players that we kind of discounted and dismissed, and they're in a shit division, but they're beating teams that are better than them. So, I mean, yeah, Trader Jerry, and he's a shit sometimes, but listen, they're playing good baseball.
They're playing good baseball, but chemistry is a real thing, right? We know this. You remove somebody from that locker room and you put somebody new into the mix, and all of a sudden what was once promising can flush itself down the toilet. If we look at, for example, what happened last year with the Mets and Javier Baez, you introduce Javier Baez into that locker room, and all of a sudden it's not what it once was. I'm looking at the Orioles. The Orioles were rolling. They're at 500 now for the first time for God knows when. The last time the Baltimore Orioles were relevant. And I want to see, you feel like these guys aren't, you have your Adley Rushmans, you have your Cedric Mullinses, you have guys like Dean Kramer in your rotation. Trey Mancini was once destined to be out of town, but now they're 500. Maybe Trey Mancini sticks around. Are the Orioles going to add at the August 2nd trade deadline? Are they going to make a run at this new wild card, this third wild card? I don't know that, but we are going to see about that. The Central you mentioned, I'm really looking at the National League Central, because once again, it's a 2-horse race in St. Louis. Who's going to make it happen first? Now, can Juan Soto somehow make his way into a Cardinal uniform? Because you have a guy like Dylan Carlson, Matthew Liberatore, you have prospects in the lower minors that you can possibly trigger a deal on that, and next thing you know, Juan Soto is terrorizing that division for a decade. And last but not least, I am definitely interested in Jacob deGrom. What is Jacob deGrom gonna be? He already had to be postponed. He had to be pushed back from his scheduled rehab start from Tuesday to Thursday. So, is he actually going to play this year? If he's not going to play, then the Mets need to go get another arm. They probably need another arm anyway. But I am looking to see how Jacob deGrom bounces back and how you can use him. If he can't go long, then you make him the best goddamn setup. You make him John Smoltz. You make him John Smoltz. He's your setup guy to Diaz, or he's your fucking closer. If he can't go long, then he needs to be in the bullpen to shore up that bullpen. Imagine that. Max Scherzer goes 7, right? DeGrom comes out of the pen to go 8, and then Diaz goes 9. Like, that's pretty formidable. You would have to admit that.
I can't believe you're stooping to this level of saying that he's got to come in and be a short guy or a setup man. Dude, that's not going to happen, and that should not be acceptable by you as a Met fan. Like, you need this guy to come in and stud. You're paying him to do it. He's the face of the franchise. That whole nonsense, if he's only pitching to like 6 or 7 guys, that's not going to work, man.
It worked for Mariano Rivera, so it worked for John Smoltz.
He's not Mariano Rivera, and he's not John Smoltz. You know this. He's not that. He's not those guys.
Here's the thing. Here is the thing. If he cannot go long, then he needs to go short, because you need him on the field in any way possible. So if that's what he's going to be, then you have to get him on the field.
No, he needs to go pick another profession if he can't do it. There's no way that's going to work. The only way the Mets win the World Series, get to the World Series, or compete in the playoffs is if their 1-2 punch is DeGrom and Scherzer. If it's not DeGrom and Scherzer, then they're not going anywhere. And this was a waste of a season. Because now next year, Scherzer's a year older, and DeGrom, I mean, it's July, dude. Like, what the fuck, man? Where have you been? Like, get out here and compete. Even if he started pitching tomorrow, he's not going to have his legs under him until August.
No, he's not. Absolutely. Good Lord, could you imagine him taking them out and then wincing after he throws one of his pitches? Yes, because it's happened twice.
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can. I flew back last year from Denver, and he left the game with an injury, and I was on the friggin' railway to the airport, and I almost screamed. So I almost screamed. So yes, I've lived this before. So if that's the only way I can get Jacob deGrom on the mound, dude, then he's gonna forget the Jabba rules. It's gonna be the Jacob rules. Like, this is what's gonna happen.
Remember that dude?
I remember Jabba. I remember Jabba the Hutt.
This guy.
We love youth sports. Not only do they get the kids out and active, but they promote teamwork, sportsmanship, friendship, and fair play. One of the Fade Route's favorite youth sport partners is Ossining AYSO Soccer. Their mission is to develop and deliver quality, player-centered youth soccer programs that promote a fun, fair, family environment where everyone is welcome and everyone plays. If you have a child between ages 4 and 18, registration for fall 2022, spring 2023 season is open. To sign up or to volunteer as a coach or referee, go to ayso201.org today. The more volunteers, the more children can enjoy the AYSO soccer experience. Go to ayso201.org today for more information or to sign up. ayso201.org. More soccer for more kids. In other more sordid news, the Houston Texans settled 30 of the lawsuits stemming from the Deshaun Watson saga. In a statement, 30. It's like, we're just going to make this go away. How much will it take? What's your name again? Can you just spell that? Actually, you know what? You just write your name.
Just write it on the check, man.
Just write it on the check. Just write it down. In a statement, the McNair ownership group stated this is not an admission of guilt on their part. Really? What say you on that?
Jeez. I mean, listen, as for us, I know the Texans were not being investigated, right? As far as I know, right? The Texans were not being investigated. So why come out of nowhere and offer these women money? I don't see the NFL punishing the Texans at all, but this certainly seems like an admission of guilt to me. You must know the inner workings of your team and you must know that you're at fault in some way, and you're jumping in on people that he hasn't even paid. Watson hasn't even paid out yet. I think this looks ugly. This looks bad, and the crazy part is they're gonna get away with it.
Yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen. They may not very well get away with it.
I'm telling you, dude, they're not. The NFL is not gonna punish the Houston Texans. I'm telling you, it's not gonna happen. We don't live in a society that is gonna punish the rich team and the rich owner. It's not happening.
I don't know, but they really need to set an example. If they're not going to send the example with the player, they need to send an example with the ownership group who hired the people that provided the NDAs for their supposed stud player to commit these acts. It cannot go
Look at Daniel Snyder right now. My man is chilling on his yacht in like some other country just so he doesn't have to answer a subpoena. You realize that he won't appear because he's in international waters, which is why he says, well, I'll do a video conference if you guys want, but they have no jurisdiction on him in bringing him back to the States for his subpoena in the clusterfuck of a problem he has got himself into.
Yeah, well,
the power of money, man. It's the power of money.
Well, the problem is that the court of public opinion is going to dictate, or at least should dictate, these things.
Not on a team, not for a team. For a player, sure, but not for a team. Most people don't even know who Daniel Snyder is. They know who Deshaun Watson is.
The problem with that is that you become callous to it, and then it becomes a situation like Donald Sterling, where it takes a situation where the guy had to be caught on video, on tape, saying a racial epithet for them to finally get rid of him. It's a slippery slope. You have the opportunity, if you're the NFL, to really come down on this situation and stand on the side of right. Anything short of that is cowardice. Like when Roger Goodell said he could not initiate the vote to possibly get rid of Daniel Snyder as owner. You have the power to do that. Whether or not the owners are going to do it is another story. You have the power as commissioner. You are put in position by the owners to act in the best interest of the owners. And this is very much in the best interest of the owners to come down on the side of right. Because at the end of the day, as much as it is, coming down the side of right, it's also good PR. We are taking this seriously, and we are going to be an inclusive league. We are going to be a female-friendly league, and we are going to be, we are going to deal equitably in these matters. Anything else, it just seems like cowardice, and it just smells. Frankly, it just smells. And we're going to see what's going to happen with the Deshaun Watson thing, because arbitrator's going to come down soon. We're going to see what the punishment is. It's going to be negotiated. Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna appeal. He's not gonna just take it.
Yeah, no, he can't just take it, and he's not going to, because if he does, then that's another tacit admission of guilt. So everybody wants plausible deniability. Everybody wants protection, and frankly, nobody in this instance, nobody deserves anything. You deserve the punishment that you're gonna get. You're enabling, and you are furthering the misguided relationship between the NFL and female fans and women in general. And you need to clean that up. If not on the whole as a league, on the micro level as a team, you definitely should be looking at that.
Is your hair thinning? or is your hairline receding? Scalp micropigmentation will fill in the areas where your hair is missing by creating a short buzz cut look. Micropigmentation is a non-invasive procedure that will create the illusion of hair follicles for 7 to 10 years. For people with alopecia, this could be a permanent fix. For people with scars on their scalp, this is a great way to camouflage a scar. Don't lose confidence or feel like you need to wear a hat wherever you go. Marquez Studio is located in the Bronx and is open for all your scalp micropigmentation needs. Consultations are free and appointments can be made any day of the week. Get your hairline back with scalp micropigmentation. The techs at Marquez Studio have over 30 years of haircutting experience and can assist you with all of your questions. Call to schedule a consultation today, 646-221-8728. You can also visit them on Instagram at Bronx Marquez to see their gallery and view all their satisfied customers. Again, that is Marquez Studio, located in the Bronx, New York, 646-221-8728.
Speaking of interesting takes, a lot of interesting stuff coming out of Minnesota lately. Some delusional, some seemingly within the realm of reason. Former linebacker Ben Lieber recently told Pro Football Talk that Coach Mike Zimmer hated Kirk Cousins, and now that Kevin O'Connell is there and Zimmer is gone, Kirk Cousins will finally be able to win a Super Bowl. On the other side of this argument, in a different stratosphere altogether, wideout Justin Jefferson said in an interview that while Davante Adams is the best wide receiver in the NFL right now, Jefferson will catch him as soon as next year. Which is the more delusional take, Lieber's or Jefferson's?
Lieber's is so odd, right? It's because, you know, their head coach fought to get Case Keenum out of town to bring in Kirk Cousins. So I find it hard to believe that he felt this way. You know, personally, I think DeAndre Hopkins is the best wide receiver in the game, followed by Adams and your favorite wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. I think Jefferson can catch Adams. I do like Kirk Cousins. I think he will have an MVP caliber year. I really do. I mean, if not now, then when, right? But there's just too many teams for them to surpass to win a Super Bowl. So I would go with the whole Kirk Cousins winning a Super Bowl as the more delusional take.
I concur with that statement just from the simple fact that we've seen Kirk Cousins, Mr. 8-8, like perennial 500. The best thing that happened was that they put the 17th weekend. You know, they put the 17th game in. He can't go 500 anymore. So you're looking at a career, right? 223 touchdowns, 32,000 yards, perennially meh. It's, 8-8, 7-9, 10-5, 8-7-1, 7-9, 8-7-1, 9-7. Like, that's mediocre. That's mediocre. That is Kirk Cousins right there. And he keeps parlaying it into fantastic contracts, right? Extensions. We know who Kirk Cousins is. I'm sorry. Don't gaslight me. Kirk Cousins looks great on paper, but he does just enough to get you beat. That is what Kirk Cousins does. Kirk Cousins is Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers was just good enough to get you beat. Justin Jefferson, on the other hand, he's a stud. He's a legit wideout. There was a statistic, most yards in his first 2 seasons in the NFL. He's at or near the top. Like, that's impressive. He has 3,000 yards already for his career. He has 17 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson has the ability to eclipse Davante Adams. We can debate who the best wide receiver in the league is. Like, is it Tyreek Hill? Is it DK Metcalf? Is it,
certainly not DK Metcalf.
Is it Odell Beckham Jr.?
That guy's still in the league.
Well, he is. He's a free agent. Is it CeeDee? I mean, you have many options. Justin Jefferson is certainly one of them. And because of his age and because of his ability level, I didn't even mention Stephon Diggs. Like, I could put Stephon Diggs in that category.
Isn't it crazy that, Stephon Diggs is in such high regard, and the Minnesota Vikings traded Diggs to Buffalo, and with the pick, they went and got Justin Jefferson. Isn't that
Right?
How great is that? What a
That's
nice,
fantastic.
savvy move by the Vikings there.
That's a great job by the Vikings. And while the Vikings are clutching to Justin Jefferson with all their might, hoping that Dalvin Cook actually doesn't get hurt again, Stephon Diggs might be ready to go to the next level with Josh Allen. They might end up actually in the Super Bowl this year. So we're going to see where they end up. But Justin Jefferson seems to be the goods. And, that's more within the realm of reason. Like, Kirk Cousins, don't get me started on Kirk Cousins. Like, I understand that we're all about parlaying our talents into major contracts, and fantastic, you did a great job. But you cannot, with any degree of honesty, tell me that Kirk Cousins is a top-tier quarterback. Like, we know what good quarterback play looks like. Rodgers, Brady, Big Ben for a while. Mahomes.
Big Ben for a while, he says.
Big Ben for a while before he got banged up. Mahomes. Does Kirk Cousins look like that? Does he resemble any of that? No.
It's tough, right? It's tough because of his style of play. Like, when I look at Kirk Cousins, he's like, to me, he's like the early Brady, right? The Brady's early years. Like, he's gonna control the pace of the game, and he's not gonna turn it over. That's the way I look at him. He's not dynamic. He could make the throws. He benefits from a good running game. But no, I definitely don't think he's top 10.
He's the highest paid game manager in the history of football. Would you agree with that statement?
Highest paid game manager in the history. You're saying in the history of football?
In the history of football, the highest paid game manager.
Possibly. Could possibly. Yeah, sure. I could get on board with that. He's top 15, right? Top 15.
There's only, yeah.
He's better than half of the league.
Right? He's in the middle of the pack. He'll be 15.
I'm taking Kirk Cousins over Tua, right?
Well, yeah. No,
I'm taking him over Justin Fields. I just don't know what Justin Fields is going to be.
Take him over Jones.
Taking him. Oh, here's a good one. You taking Kirk Cousins or Matt Ryan?
Well, that's a different thing altogether, because am I taking Matt Ryan on the Colts, or am I taking Kirk Cousins on the Vikings, or am I taking
straight
Matt
up?
Ryan?
It's straight up, man. It's like, yo, we need a quarterback. These are the two guys who are available. Who are you taking?
I'm taking Kirk Cousins because he's younger, but that's the only reason why. That's the only reason why. Matty Ice Cold and Kirk Cousins are cut from the same cloth. Good enough to get you beat. Just look at the Super Bowl. 28-3. Good enough to get you beat.
I think you're taking Cousins over half of the league. I think you're taking him I'm just listing guys at the bottom of the barrel here. I mean, Baker, Geno Smith,
Trevor Lawrence.
No, see, Trevor's got tremendous upside, right? Tremendous upside. I'm gonna take Trevor because athleticism and tremendous upside.
Right, but we're talking about right now. We're talking about right now, not 5 years from now.
Right now, I want Trevor Lawrence over Kirk Cousins. Sure.
Okay. All
sure.
right.
Davis Mills. I mean, come on, yeah. Carson Wentz.
I got one for you.
Daniel Jones, Jared Goff, Zach Wilson. These are the bottom half of the league.
I got one for you. I got it. Derek
Yeah.
Carr. Are you taking Derek Carr or are you taking
Yeah, I'm
Kirk
taking
Cousins?
Derek Carr. I'm taking Derek Carr. Sure.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm taking Derek Carr.
That's a big admission from you. I know you're not the biggest Derek Carr fan. in the
I'm
world.
not. I'm not. He might be playing on my fantasy team this year.
For all the grill masters, green thumbers, home repair heroes, and DIY aficionados in the Richmond, Virginia area, if you're looking for a personal service, quality products, and a convenient shopping experience, look no further than Thacker Ace Hardware in Colonial Heights, Virginia. Owner Don Rackley and his team of local experts have everything you need to tackle all of your home projects. I'm talking paints by Benjamin Moore and Clark in Kensington, power tools by Craftsman and Milwaukee, electrical, plumbing, hardware, and let's not miss the grills. Weber, Big Green Egg, Traeger, Blackstone, top shelf, amazing. And for all you green thumbers, their nursery department is fantastic. Give them a call today, 804-766-4223, or stop by 27 Dunlop Village in Colonial Heights. That's 804-766-4223, or swing by 27 Dunlop Village in Colonial Heights. Thacker Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. Well, you know who else was playing in a semi-fantasy? LeBron James and DeMar DeRozan. They lit up the Drew League this past weekend. For those of you who don't know, it's a mixture of pro and semi-pro basketball players. And LeBron and DeRozan put up a show. One player, noticeably absent, was Kyrie Irving. Shocker. I know. Despite his apparent commitment to playing in the Drew League, Kyrie was a no-show. At this point in the summer, in this point in time, does Kyrie Irving even want to play basketball?
I think he does, but he wants to do it on his time and on his terms. If you think about back to when he played at Duke, he hurt his foot. He never came back. He still was like the number one pick. He did what he wanted to do in Cleveland. LeBron came. They won a chip. And then he decided he wanted to leave. Went to Boston. They were really good. Wanted to leave. Like he's doing it on his time. But this is the new type of NBA player. They play when they want. And winning is secondary to money and headlines. We think about like the last 20 years, or think about maybe even just the last 12. With your big threes, right? You have Pierce, Garnett, and Allen. They all wanted to win, man.
Yep.
You had Bosh, LeBron, and Wade. They came together to win.
Yep.
Okay. Then you had Kyrie, Love, and LeBron. Now they wanted to win, but then after they won, to me, Kyrie and Love didn't care anymore. And I like Kevin Love, but he had opportunities to leave and go somewhere else and be a player, and he didn't. He decided he wanted to stay in Cleveland because they were going to pay him the most money. Then you have Steph, Clay, Draymond. They keep winning. They want to keep winning. They're into this. And then here we go. We got Durant. He left OKC. He left Golden State after winning 2 championships, and now he's getting ready to leave Brooklyn. All the teams he left were capable of winning multiple championships. Like he could have stayed in OKC and they would have competed. He could have stayed in Golden State. They would have won more games. He's more interested in experience, not in winning championships. And now you have Kyrie. Kyrie left Boston. Boston was set, man. There was a winning team. They were knocking on the door ever since he left. Getting to the finals this year. Imagine if they actually had a point guard like Kyrie in the finals this year. And Marcus Smart could have been the 2 guard. I mean, are we talking about Boston winning championship? So it's just a different type of basketball player. I was talking to a good friend of mine who was saying that his daughter plays Division III college basketball, and her trainer, he had a conversation with her trainer, and they were like, okay, who's the best basketball player ever? And her trainer's like LeBron James. And I'm like, and he asked me if I agreed with that. I said I don't, because LeBron James is not a killer. Like Michael Jordan was a killer, Larry Bird was a killer, Magic Johnson was a killer, Isaiah Thomas. LeBron's not a killer. Like he wants to win. He puts a lot of money into his body to win, but he's not Kobe Bryant. He's not like trying to take your lunch money and knock you down, right? He's just playing the game, and he wants to win, but not to that level. And then all the other guys in the game right now, they're not killers. It's about their image. They're checking how many minutes they're playing, how many games they're playing. It's the NBA is a joke.
There's one killer right now. Two. I'll give you two. Giannis. Give me Giannis, right? Like, he's a different kind of cat. He's a different kind of cat compared to the rest of these guys. And Steph Curry. Everybody else? No. But there was a great video that I watched. A guy was trying to talk to Ray Allen as to why LeBron James is the best of all time. Is LeBron a good free throw shooter? No. Is LeBron a good dribbler? No. Is LeBron a good three-point shooter? No. So how the hell is he the greatest of all time? If you just said objectively that he is not good at these three things, and Michael Jordan was. So for Kyrie, Kyrie's all about Kyrie. You're 100% right about that. They're chasing money. They're not chasing titles. They're chasing legacy in a way in terms of paycheck, not legacy in terms of what's going on between the lines. I can't say with any degree of certainty with the exception of LeBron. Like, I don't think Kyrie cares at all about his basketball legacy from a gameplay standpoint. Like, Kevin Durant, he was defined by the Golden State move, and I don't know at this point, I don't know if he's gonna do that. I don't know if that's his MO. And nobody else really like measures up. James Harden, John Wall, take your pick. But does Kyrie want to play basketball? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And is he trying to make it difficult enough that people will just leave him alone? But with
it seems like it's a game to him. It's a game. Even when he was in Boston for the Nets Boston game, mimicking the fans and egging them on, it's all a game to him.
Right? He's more of an entertainer, I would say. It's more about entertainment than athletics. This generation of player is more about leaning into the entertainment portion of it. They want to get paid like actors. They want to get paid like movie stars. And they're going to be as mercurial as those actors and movie stars. And Kyrie definitely has the paycheck to prove it. And, I honestly don't know. Like, this is a very big year for him. He needs to go and prove. He needs to go and prove that he is willing, that he's able, and that he can be a good teammate. Because last year, he was not a good teammate. A good teammate doesn't leave their teammates high and dry. They just don't do that. A good teammate doesn't play part-time. That's not what they do. That's not what they do.
You can't help but smile when you see a balloon. The simplest occasion is a party. Westchester Pop Stars, located in New Rochelle, New York, offers balloon styling and decor for all life's events. Birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, showers, school and corporate events, store openings, or just because. Westchester Pop Stars takes balloons and shapes them into works of art, creating decorative installations for your special occasions. No event is too big or too small, and their custom personalization service is top-notch. Westchester Pop Stars is a private studio, quickly expanding. In-person consultation is by appointment only. Send an email to westchesterpopstars@gmail.com for more information or to schedule an appointment. No need to hire an event stylist. All you need is balloons. Currently servicing Westchester, Putnam, New York City, and Connecticut. To find Westchester Pop Stars, search for them on Instagram, Facebook, or Google.
Speaking of not what they do, the Indiana Pacers seem to reach a 4-year, $144 million agreement with former Suns center Deandre Ayton, or so we thought. Deandre Ayton actually is a restricted free agent, so the Suns were able to match. And with that matching, he's still the property of the Phoenix Suns. Is this a big deal, little deal, or no deal at all?
It's a big deal because this blocks Phoenix from being able to trade DeAndre Ayton until after January 15th. You know, it's a big deal because this also puts a freeze on anyone doing business with the Suns until Ayton is available again. I think it was something that they had to do, right? They had to sign this center. He's one of the best players in their team. He's a former first-round pick. But I don't know where Phoenix goes from here because they haven't been able to win with him. So why do they think this year is going to be anything different?
I mean, it's a great question. It definitely is a great question why they think it'll be any different. You're looking at 16.3 points, 10.5 rebounds, 1.6 assists. That is what is going on in DeAndre Ayton land. And last year, he was up 17.2 points, hovering around the same rebounds. What I think and what makes this a big deal is that they can't trade him until mid-December. So if there's anything to any of the rumors that they were possibly considering moving Ayton in a trade to bring in Kevin Durant, you're going to have to wait a few months in order to make that happen. So the money is getting there. The money is closer to where you need it to be. But what makes this a problem is now the restriction of time. And, you know, he is young enough and he's talented enough that the Nets would certainly want him back in a trade for Durant. But we're definitely going to see what is going to happen. Does this put the Suns behind the 8 ball? Like, does this kind of supersede them making a trade of that caliber? Because yes, you inked Ayton and you can include him in a trade, but you know, you now have to wait 3 months, whereas other teams can pull the trigger on this trade much sooner than you.
Yeah. I don't know what the Suns' plans are. I don't know what they're thinking. Are they thinking they're just going to try to run this back, and for some reason they're going to have better luck this time with an older Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton that only got his money because, you know, the Pacers, offered him a deal. And you would think the Lakers are cooking something up. I find it hard to believe that they're going to try to run it back with Russ and Anthony Davis. So you gotta wonder what's the plan here. What are they thinking? Is he in their future plans, or are they going to deal him? And if they're going to deal him, who are they going to deal him to and when? You know, and then the other part is then why match the Pacers' offer? Just for some, I guess, so they don't let him go for nothing, I guess. So it's a very odd situation going on in the desert. They really botched the last 2 years because their window, you know, they could have won the championship and then really had, you know, something to play with here, and now they don't.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder. They bungled the finals. They didn't make it back. They had the opportunity to do what they needed to do, and ultimately, like, this is a move that could seemingly blow up in their face. It remains to be seen what's going to happen if they feel they can run it back. I mean, this is a team that was at the top of the Western Conference. So, you know, maybe they're banking on a fall off from teams like the Grizzlies, because the Grizzlies really popped up out of nowhere to finish, you know, number 2 overall. Are they on the fact that the Warriors are a year older and aren't going to be able to repeat? Yeah, good luck with that. Are they going to bank on the fact that the Lakers aren't going to be good? I think that's a pretty safe bet. You know, it's an awful lot of assumptions, and it's an awful lot of, you know, hubris on their part that they can stay the same, they can stay presently constituted, and other teams are just going to continue to, fall to the wayside. But if they truly believe that they don't need to star hunt and they aren't going to get in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes, then this is the way to go. And, we'll see what happens, but they better hope that Durant doesn't come to the Western Conference. That's all I'm saying. Do you love brownies? Of course you love brownies. But you know what's better than a brownie? A delicious, handcrafted, gourmet brownie delivered right to your doorstep. That's what our guys at Sweet Life Brownie Co. offer. Chef Tommy D and the crew offer a dozen delicious delights that you will crave, from the classic OB to Dutch apple to campfire s'mores and many more. Check out their website, sweetlifebrownieco.com, for their Friday brownie drops. At noon, their site goes live and you see what they're making. Since you're there, become a site member and earn points. You earn 50 points just by signing up. Make sure you follow them on Instagram and Facebook too, at sweetlifebrownie_co, for the latest updates and their latest releases and creations. That's sweetlifebrownieco.com. Give them a call, 845-641-3043, and tell them D&Z sent you. That's sweetlifebrownieco.com, 845-641-3043. Sweet Life Brownie Co., because there's always room for a brownie. The choice is yours. Swipe left or swipe right. All right, boys and girls, it's an oldie but a goodie. For all you online dating fans out there, we have a statement, and we either swipe left or we swipe right. Swipe left or swipe right on James Harden's return to his 2018-2019 form.
I mean, I just don't think it's something you can... I just don't think the skills that he brought to the table a few years ago is something you can turn on and off. And now he seems to think so, by saying, like, he's hitting the gym and he's getting back to that form and he's going to take a pay cut. He just wants the Sixers to get more competitive and give him whatever's left over. I think his best days are behind him, so I'm swiping left on this one.
I'm swiping left as well. He's several years older, and he seems to be breaking down more. But when you're looking at that year, right, you're looking at his age 29 year. He averaged 36.8 minutes. You're looking at 7.5 assists, 1.2 steals, not great. But where you're looking at points, 36.1 points per game.
Nuts. That's nuts.
Insane. That's absolutely insane that James Harden was averaging. He averaged that for a season.
That's wild, man.
And now he's at 21. So his game has fallen off that much. Will a full season pairing with Joel Embiid improve that? Because if you look at that 2018-2019 team, you're looking at Melo was there. You had Chris Paul was there. That you had other guys on that team who could make it go. And I don't know if he can get there. I really don't know if he'll be able to reach the heights. It's like, 6'5", 220. He may be 6'5" still. He's certainly not 220. He definitely looks like a lot bigger. So we're definitely going to see. I really don't think at this point in time that he's going to be a viable, player at that level. So we'll definitely see, but it doesn't look good. Swipe left or swipe right on Jackson Holliday's pro potential.
I mean, listen, the sons of former pros in Major League Baseball have been popping up a lot lately. But the idea of Holiday being as good as Acuna, Soto, or Trout is highly unlikely, so I'm swiping left. And he looks like a girl.
That was an epic troll job that somebody posted. The first time in Major League history that a 13-year-old girl was taken with the number 1 overall pick. I'm not going to stoop to that level. So 6'1", 180, left-handed hitter. Career batting average 685 in high school. Now 89 hits, 79 ribbies, an on-base percentage of 752 in 40 games played. Right? That ain't the pros. Right?
You're right. Well, no, that's not true. I mean, usually you want your high school players to bat over 600. You bat over 600, you got a chance.
Right. But at 685, yes, with aluminum bats, with shit pitching, absolutely. Now you're going to see what he's made of. Like number 1 picks don't always go where you're supposed to go, right? Phil Nevin was supposed to be can't miss in the same draft class as Derek Jeter. Phil Nevin turned into a fine first baseman / DH, bench player, not the prolific power hitter that it was supposed to be. Ben McDonald was another guy who was supposed to be can't miss, and he missed. He became a serviceable player. Can Jackson Holliday be as good as his dad? Lifetime 299 hitter, 316 home runs. Matt Holliday was a great player. Can he be as good as that? If he puts in the work, absolutely. Matt Jackson Holliday can do that. He's got a lot to live up to. A lot of players in this draft class have a lot to live up to because you have Drew Jones, right? Your dad is fucking Andrew Jones. You have big shoes to fill. Mark McGuire's kid was taken, I believe, in the 3rd round. Madison, I believe, or Mason, the one from high school. The older one's still in college, but it's like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you have big shoes to fill. There's a lot of pressure. We'll see. Each time you move up a level, the competition gets better. We will see what he becomes, but he can be a solid pro. He absolutely can be a solid pro, or he can flame out. That's the problem with drafting high school kids. It's one of those things. Like, it's a crapshoot. We'll definitely see. But as far as his potential as of right now, I'm swiping left. Swipe left or swipe right. ESPN's The Captain is must-see TV. This one is especially in there for you.
This is such trash. Just such trash. This guy just won't fucking go away. With this stupid Players Tribune. Listen, just get out of here with this garbage. If someone's gonna do an expose on Derek Jeter, I don't want Derek Jeter to be involved in it. Then I would be more credible, and that would be, more of like the Jordan piece. Like, I want it to be done, like, with him not having kind of any ties to it, right? And I want real stories, and I want real hard questions. I want to know why that when your whole team was doing steroids, you as the captain never said anything, never straight anybody straight. I want to know why the captain allowed the best shortstop in maybe the history of baseball to come to the New York Yankees and play third base. These are much more harder questions, and these are much more things I'd rather hear about than his best days as a Yankee. Listen, this guy was never the best player in his team. He played on teams with the highest payroll in baseball in a time when teams weren't spending that much money. He played during the steroid era. He never won a regular season MVP, and the last 3 years in the league, he was the worst shortstop in the league. So that's my whole spin. I'm swiping left. I'm turning it off. I don't give a shit.
I'm swiping right for the simple standpoint that I watched Man in the Arena and I was entertained by Man in the Arena. And it is no different than a Tom Brady puff piece. Like, that was very much a Tom Brady
But
puff
Tom Brady was good. This guy was not. Tom Brady was great. Let's put it that way. Tom Brady was great. This guy is good. Anybody could have played shortstop during those years and won all those championships.
But they
No?
didn't.
Oh,
But they
here we
didn't.
go.
But they didn't.
This
That's the
guy.
thing. It's true. Just look. If everybody could have, they would have, but they didn't. So, as far as what I'm looking for in this, I'm looking for the inner workings of the locker room, like you said. I'm looking for the stuff that did not make front page headlines. I'm looking for relationships that we didn't know about. We knew about Gerald Williams, the late Gerald Williams, how he kind of befriended him. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that, of Derek Jeter, the person, right? Because we saw Derek Jeter, the player. I definitely want to see more of that. I want to see what it was. Now, the Hollywood Reporter was very direct in its, let's just say, displeasure with the captain. They called it bland and bloated. Bland and bloated.
Sounds like him.
So, I mean, we will see what it is. It was episode 1. You're dealing with him as a minor leaguer as a kid. So we will definitely kind of see where it goes and where it opens up. I'm interested from the same standpoint that I was interested in the Tom Brady piece. Now, Jonathan Papelbon already came out and slagged Jeter, saying that he's waiting for the real captain, to have his documentary, one Jason Varitek. Well, that would probably be more boring than the Derek Jeter one. Like, what did Jason Varitek do outside of play baseball, right? We were looking for personality, right? Brady's a personality. Jeter has a personality. Like, he was a playboy. Like, the gift basket. That is stuff stuff of legend. Jason Varitek might be as bland as your morning oatmeal. So, Papelbon needs to go back to being choked by Bryce Harper.
Yeah, I was about to say, is this the guy that got choked out by Bryce
The guy
Harper
got
in his own
choked out by
dugout?
Bryce Harper. So, keep Derek Jeter's name out your mouth, Papelbon. Keep his name out your mouth.
Oh, man, that's great. Are you in need of air care maintenance or service? I have the company for you. Air Care Technicians. They service the Westchester and Northern Bronx area and can help you with all your heating and cooling, maintenance, and service needs. Just give them a call at 914-315-1547. Again, that's 914-315-1547. Or shoot them an email at aircaretechnicians@gmail.com. These guys are the real deal, as they are veteran-owned, licensed, and insured. Make sure to tell them that D&Z sent you.
The Fade Store presents the Alleged Superstar of the Week Award. All right, boys and girls, you know what time it is. It is time for the Alleged Superstar of the Week. We put up a poll on our Twitter page at FadeRouteDNZ, and you vote, and you vote, and you vote, and you vote. The winner gets the coveted ass trophy and gets announced on this here program. And D, do you know who won the ass last week?
I don't.
One Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon for his dalliances and his hush money and his NDAs. But that was last week. This is this week. Who are your nominees for the Alleged Superstar of the Week Award?
I've got some great ones this week. First up, Mr. Ben Affleck marrying Jennifer Lopez for the second time. Ben, you had Jennifer Gardner, who has the most beautiful smile in all of Hollywood, and you're deciding to go around with Jenny from the block again? Couple more rings, she's gonna have as many as Tom does. Ben Affleck, you are my alleged superstar of the week. Number 2, Tiger Woods, calling out live golfers for ditching the PGA. Tiger, mind your business. Are you gonna start paying these guys? I still don't know how Tiger Woods is good news. I just go away. Another guy needs to go away. You're not relevant anymore. Tiger Woods, you are my alleged superstar of the week. And last, and certainly a repeat offender on this damn show, Rob Manfred. The home run derby will decide the All-Star game if there's a tie after 9 innings. How about it just ends in a tie, Rob? It's an exhibition game. Who really gives a shit who wins the All-Star game? This guy thinks he's the commissioner of Barnum and Bailey Circus. I swear to God. Just stop. Just please stop. Rob Manfred, you are my alleged superstar of the week. What do you got, Z?
Well, we could go back to when the game ended in a tie, and Bud Selig then announced that the winner of the game would get home field advantage in the World Series. We can put some stakes on it. Like, how about that? Let's go back to that. That was fun. Rob Manfred, you clueless putz. You're on my list, too, for a different reason. For coming out and saying that minor league baseball players are being paid a wage. Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Oh my God. It's
Like,
like $290 a week, isn't it?
It's like $300
bucks.
It's like $300 a week. Like, Steve Mnuchin wrong. You are Steve Mnuchin wrong on this. Check
And
your
Rob
math.
Manfred makes $17 million a year, right?
Right. Bro, I teach algebra for a living. Go back and check your math because you're a little off. Rob Manfred.
You gotta carry the one.
Yeah, you got to carry several ones. Rob Manfred, you are my alleged superstar of the week. Major League Baseball, now you're on. Not just the putz that runs it, the whole entity. For agreeing to have sponsorship deals on your jerseys.
Oh, it's awful.
Enough. You are ruining the game that I love. It's bad enough that everything is fucking sponsored, right? The throw over to first base, the mound visit is sponsored. Every piece of real estate on the wall has an ad. I'm sure there's the official toilet paper of the New York Yankees. We just don't know it yet. Charmin, the quicker picker. It's much softer on
Bounty is the quicker picker up, or we don't want to get sued.
That's right. We don't want to get sued. Charmin is great when Garrett Cole shits the bed. Like, we'll just,
That's a good one. I like it.
But that's, it's unnecessary, and you're ruining the game again. Major League Baseball, you are my alleged superstar of the week. And last but not least, the Washington Nationals, for first leaking the story about Juan Soto, which is fine. Like, whatever. Like, this is part of negotiation. You try and get your fans on your side. But then, when he decides to go to the home run derby, you don't charter him a plane. He flies commercial. That's some quality spite work. That is some quality pettiness. I am here for it. But you can't do that. Washington Nationals, you are my alleged superstar of the week. I think we've said our piece. Go and vote on our Twitter poll, ASAP. And for our nominees, just do better, boys. Just do better. Your favorite podcast has its own merch line now. Go to the Fade store with DNZ.com today for all your Fade Route merch needs. I'm talking tank tops, t-shirts, sweatshirts, like yoga pants, we got those too. Like some cool accessories, we got those too. And we're not done yet. We have so much more planned for you, but check out what we have today at the Fade store with DNZ.com. That's the Fade store with DNZ.com. Order up! All right, ladies and gentlemen, our NFL division preview continues tonight as we order up.
Order up, order up.
The AFC West. From 4 to 1. Who you got, D?
Man, I got a surprise for you in this one. I have the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh!
I just don't think they did enough this offseason. You know, they're asking for Juju to fill some big shoes. They're asking Juju to be Tyreek Hill. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has not lived up to his hype, even though they went to the Super Bowl the first year he was there. The Honey Badger's gone. There's no Anthony Hitchens. There's no pass rush. I don't see it. I don't see how this team is going to contend with the other teams in the division. And they can be last, or the next team, the Broncos. You know, I think they're going to start hot. And I mean, really red hot. I want to say like 8-2, 9-2. But then they're going to fizzle out. People are going to catch up to Russ and company. And I actually think Javonte Williams is going to have a really good year. He might actually lead the league in rushing. But I have the Broncos at 3. At number 2, I have the Raiders. I just think with Josh McDaniels, he's got his quarterback. He's got 2 good running backs. He's got a tight end. He's got 2 good receivers. He's going to have his Renfro, which is like his Edelman type, and he's going to have his Devontae Adams, could be his like Randy Moss type. I think their defense is going to be decent. I'm pretty sure they have Chris Jones. I'm pretty sure they went and got him. So I got the Raiders at 2. And number 1, I think this is the Chargers' year. I mean, I think Herbert wins the MVP, leads the league in touchdown passes. They compete for a title. And I think they went and got Khalil Mack. They got Camille Mack and Joey Bosa coming off the edges, man.
Yeah.
They're gonna come after the quarterback. And I just think I think they're gonna hurt people. So that's what I got.
Pretty close. We are pretty close on this. I'm not going to lie and say that we're so miles apart. Number 4, I'm going to take the Broncos just because I've seen the Russell Wilson show. Like, hot start, and then when they let Russ cook. Remember that phrase, ladies and gentlemen? Let Russ cook? That's when you know the shit was going south and you had some spoiled meat. So, he's out of excuses. Right? You have Javonte Williams, you have Jerry Jeudy, you have weapons. You have a good defense, you have the ability. This is Russell Wilson. Like, Russell Wilson needs to prove that he is the guy that he says he is and that we think he is. And I'm not sure he's there yet. 3rd place, I have the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
That, Travis Kelce is still there. Edwards-Helaire is still there. Andy Reid is still there. Patrick Mahomes is still there. The defense is always a question mark. Is Juju good enough? Do they bring in Odell Beckham? Do they bring in Julio Jones? Like, those are difference makers. Losing Tyreek Hill, trading Tyreek Hill could end up biting them in the ass, but we will see. But as of right now, I don't think they're talented enough to get over the hump. 2nd place, I also have the Raiders. I think that Devontae Adams is a great addition. Derek Carr is going to play his ass off. He's got Darren Waller. He's got Josh Jacobs. They have players. This is the team, right? This is the time. And they got there last year. They need to get there again and cement their legacy. Josh McDaniels has to prove to us that he's a good football coach and that Denver is in the past. What once happened is no longer. We will see, because Rich Bisaccia deserved that job with what he did, and the Raiders did him dirty. Anything less than the playoffs, and Rich Bisaccia looks great. And number 1, I agree with you. It is the Los Angeles Chargers. There is absolutely no reason that they should not run away with this division, except for the fact that their coach is going to fuck it up at least twice. Brandon Staley, I hope you've learned your lesson from last year, because you cost your team at least 2 games with your being too cute bullshit. You're not Sean McVay. Get your head out of your ass You are not Sean McVay. You once made him a sandwich. That is where your comparison with Sean McVay ends. So get out of your players' way. You have studs on the offense, studs on the defense. There is no reason that this team should not be in the playoffs.
This has been the Fade Route with DNZ. Thanks for tuning in tonight. You catch our podcast on Wednesday nights on Anchor, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Until next time, stay faded, everyone.
Time for us to run the go route, but we'll talk to you next week. Want to get on the action, we want to hear from you. Hit us up, faderoutemail@gmail.com. Slide in our DMs on IG @FadeRoutePodcast. Drop us a DM on Twitter @FadeRouteDNZ. Comment on our YouTube channel, The Fade Route with DNZ. Questions, comments, picks, segment suggestions, you name it, we want to hear from you. Get at us, in crowd.